Kairi FM. Major News.
Good evening, welcome to Kairi FM's Major News. I'm Priska Julian. Here are the headlines making the news this evening. In national news, certification programs to be implemented to encourage good manufacturing practices. In regional news, PAHO director wants complacency, allowing for spikes in COVID-19 cases. And internationally, Cuba protests tax on food and medicine imports lifted. The details right after the break.
It is not a clothesline Kumeti had Ushishi. It is not the line your grandmother used to hang her Christmas cards. It is not an ordinary line. The Manikou had no chance. The core was stewed right on line. I'm talking about power. The Domlek high voltage power line. So, Domlek voulait faire changer as you rebuild a primaria. Pabody stay away. Especially my business owners. If you need to do construction close to the lines, informez Domlek avant. Mundika heavy crane, bucket trucks, heavy duty, overhead equipment. Call Domlek first. 255-6103. High voltage line, that is deadly business. Angela in the Ipe, whether say TV or telephone line, DBC line. Lewe ma wika drive and by on Kipanshi. She's squeezing his old knee. Avec a PJC, DDD.
Bip Messenger is the new way to connect. Messaging made simple. Whether you're connecting with friends or family, celebrating a birthday, or just hanging out to chat, Bip's got you covered with up to 10 people on video calls. The new way to make sure we can all stay connected and be together. Start living, get bipping. Download Bip today.
Do you listen to Kairi? Download the Kairi FM Android app on Google Play Store for 24/7 radio on the go. Visit our website at www.kairifm.com and stay connected with all your favorite programs. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and never miss a beat on your genuine sound. Kairi FM.
You looking for good eggs? I mean quality fresh eggs straight from the farm? Well, we have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the quantity. We've got the right amount. Visit us at Prince City downstairs Kairi FM on Independence Street for your fresh farm eggs, or call telephone 448-7331, 448-7330 or 448-8752 and we'll get you your fresh farm eggs.
I'm not exaggerating, boiling with excitement.
Welcome back. We welcome our listeners on Variety Radio in Antigua and Flow TV channel 119 in St. Lucia. The Dominica Bureau of Standards plans to implement programs to help local manufacturers achieve the Good Manufacturing Practices certification. The Bureau recently certified the first company in Dominica, DCP Successors, as having good manufacturing practices. Technical Officer for Quality at the Dominica Bureau of Standards, Heinrich Anselm, says certification programs can be used to encourage best practices among manufacturers in Dominica, while simultaneously improving the standard of local products.
The certification unit of the Bureau of Standards is embarking on a drive to promote the use of best practices and standards across all sectors in Dominica. We have realized that through the use of best practices, we can improve the various sectors. We have realized that the best way to encourage persons and institutions and companies to utilize standards is through certification programs. And to effectively accomplish this objective, especially for the manufacturing sector, we have established a number of schemes for the manufacturing sector.
He says that in addition to the good manufacturing practices, the Bureau of Standards is also implementing certificates of free sale, which would allow manufacturers to access the regional market.
To effectively accomplish this objective, especially for the manufacturing sector, we have established a number of schemes for the manufacturing sector. So we are implementing currently a scheme for good manufacturing practices and also for certificate of free sale to allow manufacturers to access various regional markets. These schemes are being benchmarked against international standards, so we are actually utilizing international standards to develop the various schemes for the manufacturing sector. Similar schemes are being implemented for agriculture and also for the importation of biodegradable products.
Technical Officer of Quality at DBOS, Heinrich Anselm. The Dominica Red Cross recently opened its third branch in the community of La Plaine. On Saturday, July 10th, a ribbon-cutting ceremony was hosted to open the doors of the new facility, which will serve La Plaine and environs. Director General of the Dominica Red Cross, Sandra Charter-Roll, says this forms part of the organization's disaster preparedness activities on the island.
The Dominica Red Cross initiated a program in 2018 to construct humanitarian facilities in the communities where our branches are located. And on Saturday, the 10th of July, the third such facility was commissioned in La Plaine. This facility will serve as the Red Cross branch office and for the storage of relief items. This is all in an effort to enhance the work of our volunteers by providing them with the venue to conduct training sessions, community engagements, meetings. This will also serve as their emergency operations center. This facility will allow the Red Cross to preposition relief items in the community for a timely response to any emergency or disaster in La Plaine and the surrounding communities. This project in La Plaine was funded by ECHO and the Ready Together program, co-funded by the Interreg Caribbean program for the European Union Development Fund.
Director General of the Dominica Red Cross, Sandra Charter-Roll. The youth of Dominica join young people the world over today in recognition of World Youth Skills Day 2021. This event, observed on July 15th every year, is organized by the United Nations and celebrates the strategic importance of equipping the youth with skills for employment, entrepreneurship, and work. According to the UN's website, the day first came into existence back in 2014 and has since then provided a unique opportunity for dialogue between young people, technical and vocational education and training institutions, firms, employers and workers, organizations, policymakers, and development partners. This year's theme is Reimagining Youth Skills Post-Pandemic. President of the National Youth Council of Dominica is Ashma McDougall.
Reimagining Youth Skills Post-Pandemic, the international theme for World Youth Skills Day 2021. To say the least, we've recognized the resurgence of business tactics among youth in Dominica. The skills we as youth acquire enhance our abilities to make informed choices regarding employment. And without doubt, education and training have the power to change our lives and our country. However, in an era of changing contexts such as technological innovation, globalization, and demographic changes, young people need to possess abilities for adaptive and positive behavior that enable us to deal effectively with demands and challenges in everyday life. These abilities are defined in numerous ways by different sectors: life skills, transferable skills, soft skills, technological skills, all of which are at the grasp of our hands. And so World Youth Skills Day is taking place in a challenging context as the pandemic continues. Despite the hope that our vaccinations offer, distance training has become a norm for imparting skills, connectivity, and entrepreneurial success. In the local context, the emergence of young entrepreneurs transforming and reinventing the scope of opportunities remind us how important skills development is to empower our youth. The more importance we place on skill development, the more competent our youth can be. And therefore, I urge you to engage in learning and elevating yourself through a skill today. Happy World Youth Skills Day 2021.
President of the NYCD, Ashma McDougall. President of the Dominica Olympic Committee, Billy Doctrove, says he is confident that Dominica will be successful in the Olympic Games. Dominica will compete in the sport of athletics with 2018 Commonwealth Games bronze medalist Thea Lanford in the discipline of triple jump and Denick Luke, who will compete in the 800-meter race. Doctrove says that despite the possibility of the Games being cancelled or postponed, the focus always remained on preparing for the events.
Over the past few months, we have been totally focused on the Olympic Games. And although we have been totally focused, there have been quite a bit of uncertainty as to whether those games would have been held. As you know, they have had quite a few protests and demonstrations in Japan for the residents calling for the games to be postponed and even cancelled. But I always thought that it would have been held, because I know the vast investment that the International Olympic Committee and the government of Japan are put into the Olympic Games. So I was not surprised that they have maintained their stance to hold it.
Vaccination isn't mandatory. He's confident about the COVID-19 safety measures that have been put in place by the Japanese authorities.
It was mandatory that everybody be vaccinated, but encourage persons to be vaccinated, and you have to take every individual going to Japan has to take 2 PCR tests within 96 hours and 72 hours of taking your final flight to Japan. And when you arrive, I understand we got information today that persons, have to stay at the airport, about 3 to 4 hours to do different tests and wait for results and so on. So and they have limited the movements of people. As you know, the games will be held without spectators, so it will only be athletes and the officials of the respective countries taking part. So as I said, it will be a major difference, and the social aspect of the games, which a lot of people look forward to, will be eliminated this year. So you basically will be, as I said, in a bubble, going from your hotel to the grounds and back.
President of the Dominica Olympic Committee, Billy Doctrove, the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games will get underway on the 23rd of July. 2 teams from Zone B have confirmed their place in the quarterfinals of the Kalinago Premier League that wins over the weekend. Israel Fountain of the Kalinago Sports Association reports.
On Saturday afternoon, the GM Strikers did so with a 15-run win over the Red Force via the dock with Mayford. Batting first, the Red Force scored 186 for 7 in 20 overs. Sebastian Bruman got 32 and Lawrence Wilshire 27. Bowling for the Strikers, Robert Valmont took 3 wickets for 45 runs and Miguel Drago 2 for 28. In reply, the GM Strikers were well poised at 158 for 4. After 17 overs, with 2 set batsmen at the crease when the rain came. Jason Jones, 43, and Robert Valmont, 42, were the main contributors for the Strikers. Conroy Lawrence, Sebastian Bruman, Ken Burton, and Dorian John took 1 wicket each for the Red Force. On Sunday afternoon, the Concord Super Kings sealed their place in the quarterfinals when they defeated the Waraka by 6 wickets. Taking first knock, Waraka was bowled out for 96 runs in 14 overs. Only 2 batsmen got into double figures. Antonio Duran and Ken Williams got 15 runs each. Jamie James with 3 for 16, Julian Baptiste, Kean Burton and Ronman Burton with 2 wickets each were the chief destroyers for the Super Kings. In reply, with 33 from Rodman Burton, 27 by Kelvin Burton, and 22 from the bat of Jerry Ogis, the Super Kings cruised to victory with 99 for 4 in 11 overs. Bowling for Waraka, Antonio Duran took 2 wickets for 12 runs, and Joel Duran took 2 wickets for 17 runs.
Israel Fountain of the Kalinago Sports Association. The match between the Bombers and the Point Ridge Cricket Club, which was rained out on Saturday, will now be played this Saturday afternoon from 1 p.m. And now news from the region. The director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, Wednesday said that new coronavirus cases spiked in Central America, the Caribbean, and some South American countries last week. Cases rise when complacency sets in, she said. We are all tired, but after experiencing successive peaks of infections in the same locations, we must break this cycle by embracing public health measures early and consistently, the Dominican-born PAHO official told reporters at her weekly news conference. PAHO said cases are increasing in Central American countries, including El Salvador and Guatemala, where COVID deaths have also surged. It said new infections are spiking in the Caribbean, where Cuba has reported the highest number of weekly cases since the start of the pandemic. In the British Virgin Islands, cases have tripled in the weeks after reopening to cruise ships. And in Mexico, the United States, infections are rising. When variants of concern circulate, it's even more important that countries step up surveillance, especially while vaccine coverage remains low, she said. She urged countries to continue prioritizing health and social safety nets as part of their COVID response and as they turn their sights to COVID recovery. And in international news, Cuba says it will allow travelers arriving in the country to bring in food, medicine, and other essentials without paying import duties. The announcement was made following the biggest anti-government protests on the communist-run island in decades. Thousands took to the streets on Sunday to protest food and medicine shortages, price increases, and the government's handling of COVID-19. There will be no limit on such goods brought in by travelers from Monday. However, the measure is only temporary and has been derided by too little, too late by critics of the government. Travelers to Cuba can currently bring up to 10 kilograms of medicine into the country tax-free. However, they must pay custom duties on the limited amount of food and personal hygiene supplies that they are allowed to bring in. Scrapping the import duties had been suggested by some Cubans as a way to ease the shortages of medicines and food on the island. You've just heard the national, regional, and international news. Here's a recap of the headlines. In the national focus, certification programs to be implemented to encourage good manufacturing practices. From the region, PAHO director wants complacency, allowing for spikes in COVID-19 cases. And internationally, Cuba protests tax on food and medicine imports lifted. And those were the major news headlines this evening. Catch Kairi News on the go 24 hours a day on www.kairifm.com. Also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/KairiFM. Follow us on Twitter at KairiFM Dominica. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Priska Julian. Good evening.
It is not a clothesline committee had Ushishi. It is not the line your grandmother used to hang her Christmas cards. It is not an ordinary line. The Manikou had no chance. The core was stood right on line. I'm talking about power. The Domlek high voltage power line. So, Domlek voulait faire changer. As you rebuild a primaria, pabody stay away. Especially my business owners. If you need to do construction close to the lines, informez Domlek avant. Moun ki the crane, bucket trucks, heavy duty, overhead equipment, call Domlek first, 255-6103. High voltage line, that is deadly business. Angela ndi ipe yo whether say TV or telephone line, DBC line. Lewe ma wika drive ambayon ki panchi. She's squeezing his old knee. Avec a PJC, DDD,